Bonjour, it's Preppy. All right, so listen, man. The NCAA, Men's Basketball Association, right? The the people responsible for the March Madness, the $1 billion tournament with advertising that brings in buku money year after year after year after year, right? Taco Bell sponsors the cutting down the net. Wendy sponsors the Slam of the Night. McDonald's sponsors the longest three. Everything. They find a way to monetize each and every crevice of what's going on in that tournament. All right, as well as the likeness and the images of the athletes. If you go to the arenas in which these players play, many of the fans have the athletes' jerseys on. Now they don't have the name on the back, because of course that would imply that that person is actually the person who they're representing, right? What they do is they don't put the jersey name on the back, right? So they can basically thwart any legislation that would make them actually have to pay the athletes, right? But what happens also, all right, with this is that many of the athletes, they're put in very, very precarious positions. Them and their families, everybody's put in this position by the NCAA profiting off of them like this. All right. And many people have come against this. More recently, LeBron James. All right. Because LeBron James has he actually came out of high school. He went to, I believe it was St. Vincent St. Mary's in Ohio. And he went out of high school. So he never got to experience college. He never got raped by the college system. But himself and his buddy Rich Paul, now I believe LeBron James, due to the fact that there are certain restrictions upon players having certain controls while they're still playing. But if you understand what's going on, you understand that him and his buddy Rich Paul, they actually have a player agency where they have other athletes under them. I believe Anthony Davis is with them now. Markieff Morris, one of the twins, Marcus or Markieff, one of them was with them. A couple other guys, I think Contavious Caldwell Pope is actually with them also, right? But they have an agency, all right? And the NCAA, they want to be an asshole to Rich Paul, so they tried to change the rules because, of course, when you have your own organization, that's what you can do. That's what we need to learn, actually. And when you have your own organization, you can make the rules and you can change the rules whenever you want to. All right? That's why you want to be an owner. But they tried to make it so that you had to have a college degree to actually be a sports agent. And, of course, LeBron James' crony, Rich Paul, does not have a college degree. So that was a direct shot at him. Now, that ended up blowing over. All that ended up blowing over. But one of the things that remains is the fact that college athletes need to be paid. Now, California was one of the first states to actually jump on board and say, hey, we know what? We're going to start paying college athletes. You come to California, we're going to compensate you for what you do. We understand. And the NCAA and all of the big wigs that work there, they actually told California that they threatened them to not allow NCAA to be, the Division I NCAA basketball to be associated with the state of California. That ended up blowing through. And now they're at a point where across the United States, everybody's getting ready to be paid. All college athletes. Now, they're still working out the way it's going to work as far as with what sports and, how much and in what way the athletes will be compensated. But they will all be compensated. Right, which is a good thing. But what's also, because again, this hasn't come into play yet. These are things that are still on the table right now, on the negotiation table. Nothing's in, nothing's solid right now. So the debris of this system that has been in place for such a long time is still there. All right, and recently, the Memphis Tigers were bitten with this bug, and their new former, a new Hall of Famer, but former NBA All-Star, Anthony Penny Hardaway, is under fire. All right, so what's happening right now with Penny Hardaway is Penny Hardaway he was able to recruit one of the nation's top players in the class 2019. This guy supposed to be good enough to be a potential number one draft pick in the 2020 upcoming NBA draft, Mr. James Wiseman. All right, so the thing with Mr. Wiseman is the NCAA is ruling him ineligible. All right, now the reason why they're ruling him ineligible is because of the fact that his coach, his head coach, Penny Hardaway, and also happens to be his high school coach at the time, because Penny Hardaway just accepted the Memphis, Tigers coaching job, but he was coaching at high school in Memphis before, and James Wiseman was on his high school team. All right, and this is when the story gets deep, because what they're saying is that Penny Hardaway paid some of the moving expenses for James Wiseman's family to move from Nashville, Tennessee to Memphis, Tennessee. All right. And they're saying that that's a terrible thing. Now, I'm going to continue to talk, but I want you guys to get a little bit of some backstory on that from ESPN's own Adrian Wojnarowski. He's a pretty good sports insider, and he had some good information on this. So I'm going to come back after he's done. All right, check it out.
Well, James Wiseman's lawyer in Memphis, Leslie Ballin, explained that Penny Hardaway, in the investigation that has been going on, admitted that he helped financially to move the family from Nashville to Memphis before he was the coach at Memphis. He was a high school coach, a travel coach in the Memphis area, and the NCAA is deeming Penny Hardaway as a booster. Remember, he played at Memphis. He's donated money to the school. That makes you a booster under NCAA regulations. And, Penny Hardaway argued that he was not the coach at Memphis, didn't know he'd become the coach at Memphis and would recruit this player. And that has now jeopardized Wiseman's eligibility, a player who right now is a very strong front-runner to be the number one overall pick in the June 2020 NBA draft.
Adrian Wojnarowski with the very latest here surrounding James Wiseman.
All right, so like I said, that's what's happening right now. All right, this guy James Wiseman is a really good player, from the Nashville, Tennessee area. Was recruited by Penny Hardaway to play on his high school team. Penny paid some moving expenses for his family to move down from Nashville, Tennessee to Memphis, Tennessee. And now Penny's under fire. Now, this happened back in the day. All right, this wasn't something that happened now. All right, this happened a while back. So, the interesting thing is they're saying, because again, Penny Hardaway went to the University of Memphis. Back then, it was Memphis State, but now, formerly Memphis State, but now the University of Memphis. Penny Hardaway, again, he had a nice NBA career, and what do people who are generous or who are thankful to their alma maters do in general? They give money back. And when you give money back to an athletic program, you become a booster. So the NCAA is ruling Penny Hardaway a booster at this point. All right, so some very interesting things, because again, you never, ever, ever just want to hear a story or want to just digest a story from the surface. You want to go into the crevices and into the backstory to get a very good understanding of what's really happening right now. Now, Penny Hardaway grew up in the Memphis area, right? He was a standout basketball player, I believe, all state, and won different championships and things like that, things that normal soon to be NBA players do in high school. And he had a friend that he played with back in the day. And what happened is Penny Hardaway's friend caught cancer. And Penny Hardaway's friend was the coach of a grammar school team. So after his friend caught cancer, he had to find somebody who he wanted to leave the team to. The team also, one of the players on the team was actually his son, so he wanted to leave it to somebody who he respected, who understood the game, who understood the community, who could really, divest a very serious interest into the program. And so he gave it to Penny Hardaway. Now, Penny Hardaway, of course, being who he is, you don't get to be an NBA point guard, NBA great, especially in a short time frame that Penny Hardaway was able to do that without having a good IQ and a good understanding for the game of basketball. He becomes a good coach, moves up to high school, all right, and then at high school, I believe he had an AAU team. And in high school, he was able to, again, through his AAU team and things like that, the way anybody who understands the way the AAU circuit works, that's the way it works. All right, once you have notable players on your AAU team, if you're a high school coach, it's very, very easy to get those players to transfer over. Now, they have certain restrictions on that as far as state, how long a person has to sit out when they do that, but that's just the way it works. But Penny Hardaway was able to, navigate that system, understood it, was able to I'm sure, use his name. I'm Penny Hardaway, and, Nike and everything like that get behind him. He was able to get guys like James Wiseman to come over. And I believe he had another player right now who plays on Memphis with him, who came over from his high school also. Now, the very interesting thing about this situation is the fact that John Calipari, right? John Calipari, if you don't know who John Calipari is, he's now the coach of the University of Kentucky. John Calipari used to coach the Memphis Tigers, all right? And that's when he recruited Derrick Rose. I think John Calipari was only there for 1 year, and that year he recruited Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose, under the recruiting tree of John Calipari, actually got into trouble as far as grades, and they said that somebody took the SAT for him. And they had to vacate their title, and that's just how that worked. But the thing about John Calipari, right? John Calipari seems to get some of the top NBA classes or NBA draft classes every year. He's had players. He has John Wall. This dude had Darren Fox. He had Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis. And he gets all these people, and they say it's because he's embraced the one and done rule, which is the fact that he was one of the first coaches, if not the first coach, to understand that these players are, in a capitalist society, they're commodities, they're assets, and that they should be able to capitalize from their own, abilities. And since the NCAA system has yet to do that, then spending 1 year in college to move on, that shouldn't be a bad thing. He embraces that. So year after year, he brings in the most talented freshmen, and they do their thing. They win championships, or they go as far as they can, and then they bounce, and they go to the NBA. And that's what he does. But here's the thing. James Wiseman, before Penny Hardaway got the job to go to University of Memphis, James Wiseman was going to University of Kentucky. And the other player, I don't believe, I had it earlier. I won't be able to find his name this quickly. I believe he's a point guard, though. But the other player that Penny Hardaway has on the University of Memphis also was going to University of Kentucky. So listen to me. This is some conspiracy tinfoil hat shit here, but did John Calipari have anything to do with this investigation being sparked? And why is it John Calipari's never under investigation? That's the interesting thing. Is he a made man? Some people say that John Calipari's in the mob, man. He's a made man. He got connects. The Bambino connects. Forget about it type connects. Connects. All right. If you don't understand that laugh, man, go check out Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor had this stand up where he was on stage and he talked about him working in a mob club, and it's hilarious. But one of the mob boss laughs was Is John Calipari hooked up with the people who go That's the question. All right, that's the real question. I just found it to be very interesting, but also. This is all over. This is all. How much money is this all over? Because again, Calipari gets some of the best people in the world. And a very interesting thing about Calipari when he recruited Derrick Rose's brother, who before was kind of just like in charge of Derrick Rose's career, who, with Derrick Rose being an amateur athlete, wasn't very monetizable at the time. Right? How much money can you make from somebody who can't monetize? How much money can you make from somebody who can't make money off themselves yet? Right? But, you know, the sneaker brands and such, they understood who Derrick Rose was and what he would be or what he could become. And, you know, they gave him shoes and gave him little AU team, benefits, which I'm sure some of that trickled over into his pocket. Reggie Rose, I'm talking about, and of course trickled down to Derrick Rose's pocket, I'm sure. And the interesting thing about that too is when Derrick Rose went to Memphis, Reggie Rose got a job at, I believe, Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I believe it's Coca-Cola though, in Memphis, like a 6-figure job. Dude don't have no college degree, no type of experience in this field, but now you have a job, 6 figures at Coca-Cola. Interesting to say the least. Still not under investigation, right? But again, Penny Hardaway gives a kid $11,000, actually $11,500 to be exact. All right, he helps their family move from Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm wondering what the hell was this kid doing in Nashville, Tennessee anyway? I mean, that's the home of country music, baby. I mean, I ain't know if there's a lot of colored folks out there, but my man moves down from Nashville, Tennessee to Memphis, Tennessee for $11,500. I'm Penny Hardaway, right? Now, forget the fact that, again, this does benefit directly Penny Hardaway, because you're not moving down just to move down. You're moving down, and that includes you going to my school. I'm trying to win championships. That's just the name of the game, right? But $11,500, right? Because again, he's a Memphis University booster. He's giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the University of Memphis. No person, just the University of Memphis. We don't know where that money goes. I'm sure that money goes to different factions. Some of that goes in somebody's pockets, but that doesn't go to help to any of these athletes who are underprivileged. That doesn't go to any of them at all. But here, Penny Hardaway, who gives all this money to the University of Memphis, who's a booster in general, gives $11,500 to this kid so he can move down to a better situation. Because again, forget about the fact that the kid's going to be playing for Penny Hardaway and get the exposure and get all that stuff and help Penny Hardaway. Yeah, he's going to help Penny Hardaway. Forget about that, though. But he moves these people into a better situation. I bet you Penny Hardaway, even for $11,500, right, didn't move these people down to the project some damn well. Right? He didn't move them down to a one-room shack somewhere and just had his kid, slaving away on his basketball court and then go back home to a place that has no light or heat. I'm sure he moved him to a nice spot, for an opportunity to be in a better spot. And he further looked out for him and taking him to the University of Memphis with him. Now, again, yes, if James Wiseman was a shoe shine boy or a paper delivery kid or some kid that was just pretty good at science, Penny Hardaway would have no connection to the story. And this wouldn't be a story. This is a story because James Wiseman is a genetic freak. Right, he's about like 6'8", 6'9", I believe. He's a big fella. And he jumps out the gym. He's an athlete. And so that archetype in this society lends you to basketball. Right? I mean, think about it. He had to be moved down. Because think about this, on the other end of that, $11,500 is not a lot of money. The fact that the family needed $11,500 to move down, what does that tell you? They were in a bad spot. All right, so this whole thing, man, is very interesting now. They were supposed to suspend the kid, and the kid wasn't supposed to be able to play on November 9th versus UIC, but they ended up getting the kid a lawyer, and he was able to play, which is a very good thing. Very, very good thing. They postponed this, and we're going to see what happens with this. But again, I'm trying to figure out who's in the background of this. And I think it may have something to do with John Calipari, honestly. I wonder. Because again, and I hate playing the race card, But Penny Hardaway's a black coach. I don't remember the last time, if ever, a black coach has won a national championship, right? And here comes Penny Hardaway, dipping and dipping, making moves. I believe when he was in, I believe he hired Mike Miller as one of his assistant coaches, and Mike Miller has a brother who has an AAU team in Memphis area who's on the circuit, so he'll be able to get him players. You know what I mean? Penny's trying to get it lit in Memphis, and you know, people don't like that when they see young. Because again, Penny ain't young; he looks young. Cause black don't crack. But when you see black people starting to make moves, man, shit starts happening. Again, NCAA, they called the rule the Rich Paul rule. When black people start to try to make moves, man, it's gonna get ugly for you. So I'm just throwing that out there, man. I will be probably updating this as the story goes on because I want to know what's gonna happen with this. But again, NCAA is full of shit. All right, Penny Hardaway is a good dude, man. I like Penny. I like Penny back in the day when he had the commercial with Lil Penny, right? And he's just trying to do something good for the kids. You know, he's trying to help the kids and at the same time help himself. Everybody wins. It's a win-win rather than being used by, you know, these other people. But yeah, man, again, I'm going to be updating this stuff. Until next time, man, I'm out.